Yo, 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 what's up, ShoeBox Podcast family? I'm your host, Bankroll, and we're here with another episode of the ShoeBox Podcast. We know we've been MIA from you guys from a little bit, but y'all know how life be. Got a lot of content for y'all. Today will be a solo day, just your host here today. Just kind of catching y'all up on a couple topics that we had in the queue for y'all, but we didn't really get to put out. We coming up upon the second half of the basketball season right now. So a lot of this stuff kind of pertains to weeks ago, but we kind of just wanted to get our opinion out on it. Like again, today's just a show with me, guys. Today's mostly just a little bit about the Super Bowl, and mostly a lot of the boxing fights that happened. I talk about the NBA All Star Game as well, but like I said, it's gonna be a little bit of a short pod. Just me, just trying to get a video out there, keep you guys engaged, keep y'all having a little content. But like I said, we're about to have a new year of sports. Football free agency is about to start tomorrow, essentially. Making this video Sunday, but it'll come out today. But essentially, football season, as far as free agency, starts next week. Essentially Monday, excuse me. So we got to get this old content out there because we want to get it out there because it was great points or great topics to talk about. But anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it, right? So let's go ahead, excuse me. Let's start off the show with the Seahawks defeated the Patriots in the Super Bowl. This game was really not much to talk about at all. Let's get a couple graphics up here for you guys. Let's get, of course, the score here. Right, like I said, 29-13 in the Super Bowl out there in San Francisco. Been a lot of conspiracy theories about injuries and everything out there in San Fran. Let me get sure I can see me. Been over there in San Fran, but nobody really got hurt in this game. It was a pretty dominant game from Seattle from start to finish. The Patriots didn't cause them any type of problems in this game at all. 29-13. It seems like it's close, but really in actuality, the score itself is a lie. This game was a lot more lopsided than what the score, showed. Darnold didn't have a bad game, but that's what he needed to do. He needed to have a good game and don't mess it up. He went 19 for 38, 202 passing yards, a passing touchdown. Only took one sack, had a QBR of 75. So not great, but he didn't have any interceptions. He took one sack. He did what he needed to do as far as being the quarterback. And really, this game was mostly the run game took over for Seattle. Walker had 27 attempts for 135 yards, 5 yards to carry. Didn't have any touchdowns, didn't have any fumbles. So he had 5 yards to carry. Pretty much every time we give you the ball twice, that's a first down. So we're controlling the pace of the game and the game itself, which is pretty much what they did in that fourth quarter. They just ran the ball out and controlled the pace of the game. As far as receiving wise, Cooper Kupp, which was a Super Bowl MVP with the Rams about 3 years ago, he had your high for Seattle as far as receiving 6 catches for 61 yards. He didn't have a touchdown in this game either. Jackson Smith and Jigba didn't have too great of a game either. Caught 4 passes for 27 yards. So it wasn't too much of a exciting game. You had 2 great teams with 2 great defenses. Myers, their kicker, had 5 field goals attempted and made. So it was a real defensive type of game. The Patriots got a good defense. Seattle got a good defense. Both these teams are 14-3, so it was more of a defensive matchup, which is not necessarily good for the Super Bowl because people want to see action. Over there on the other side, you had Drake May, 27 yards completion. 27 completions for 43 passes attempted for 295. He had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and took 6 sacks. And those 2 interceptions were crucial because they scored on both of those points. And if you even look at the score, 29-13, if you say those 2 interceptions were taken away and the Patriots score those 2 touchdowns, that's essentially 20 7 points. If you do the touchdowns, 27 points to 29. So it's an even closer game. And maybe they don't even have 29 if Drake May doesn't have those turnovers. And that was the MVP. A lot of people had Drake May, but Matt Stafford ended up winning. As far as rushing, Drake May was the top leading rusher. A lot of people was coming in this game talking about how the Patriots would be able to run the ball with Stevenson and Henderson, but they only had about 7 carries apiece for them for 23 and 19 yards. And Drake May, like I said, led the team with 37 yards rushing, and the top receiver was Matt Hollins, 4 catches for 78 yards. He actually had a touchdown. Diggs didn't do too much. He had 3 catches for 37 yards. So 2 great defenses went against each other. Pretty much in the best team came out victorious with Seattle. We pretty much knew before this game started they were going to win, and that's pretty much what happened. They now call themselves the Dark Side. So very interested to see next season how they reload. They got a lot of free agents that were key to their team. They're gonna have to come back and be better. So it'll be nice to see if they're able, if the Dark Side is able to repeat. And your Super Bowl MVP was Kenneth Walker III, running back. He is also a free agent this season, so he will cash in big time on the contract, especially for running backs. This is the perfect time. Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, free agent. So they got to kind of pay you compared to if it was, the other way around to where it's just a regular end of the season. You're a free agent and you're coming to the table, talking about you want this or that. We don't have nothing to prove, but as far as Walker, he had a lot to prove, and he was a Super Bowl MVP. So shout out to the Seahawks. They are the champions for this season. And, we wish them well, but we really don't wish them well because, as a Colts fan, we were supposed to be there, but we sucked it up. Like I said, free agency starts this Monday. So we'll see what teams get better and all that. So we're going to go ahead and switch drives over to another sport. We're going to go over here and talk about what happened this NBA All-Star weekend, right? Where we gonna start at? We'll start, like I said, we're skimming over a lot of this, just points we want to talk about we didn't get to talk about, but especially this NBA All-Star, it ain't really nothing to talk about. But we'll talk about the main we ever want to talk about, and that's the slam dunk competition. Keshad Johnson from the Miami Heat is your dunk champion of this year. Again, the dunk contest was trash. Dang near had a dude catch a concussion, you know what I'm saying, dunking and almost hit his head on the floor. The dunks we've seen, Jackson Hayes ran all the way down to the other end of the court to go do a dunk that was a regular dunk. So at this point for the dunk contest, we either got to get better participants or we got to let outside people do the dunk contest because the players that are in the slam dunk competition, it ain't nobody that we want to see, and they're not creative enough to make it worth watching. We've seen these dunks. You got to do something with the creativity to make things a lot better for us to want to watch the slam dunk competition because mostly for the NBA All-Star weekend, all we really care about is a 3-point competition, and we used to care about the actual All-Star game itself, but that's kind of not been good itself either. So, but this year it was kind of good, and I'll get into that. You had the Shooting Stars competition, which the champions was the Team Knicks. That's where you got all these guys shooting from layups to all the way to the half court shot, and the Knicks are your champions there. We're not going. But this was okay. Then you had Damian Lillard, who was traded to the Portland Trailblazers from the Bucks. He hasn't played this season because of an Achilles injury. He actually came out and competed in a 3-point competition. and won the 3-point competition. I believe he is a 2-time or a 3-time 3-point competition champion, beating out Devin Booker and Con Knuppel. Devin Booker could have tied the game, could have tied up the competition, but he choked about the last 2 shots. So Damian Lillard ended up winning. So shout out to Dame. Hope you getting the rest that you need, and so you come out next season and do your thing for Portland Trailblazers. So that was your 3-point competition winner. Then as far as the game itself, right? The game itself was a much better game than what we've seen. It reminds me of the year that Kobe died and they did the competition to where it was to 24 and, with two teams. And then at the end, you play for a time limit or whatnot. So that's when they were playing some good basketball. And so this last one kind of reminded me of that time. They had the Stars and Stripes teams against the Rising Stars, and then you had the International European team play each other, and pretty much from those teams, you had the U.S. Stars end up winning, which I believe the Stars played the Stripes. The Stripes were a much older team. You had, I believe, KD, LeBron, all those older guys. They also didn't have a big. Jalen Duran was going crazy down there in the paint, getting rebounds. K was showing his ability. They also had Anthony Edwards on this team, as you see, Tyrese Maxey, Scotty Barnes, Devin Booker. So it was a great game. I feel like it still was a little too long. I feel like I said, the Stripes were a little bit of an older team, so they kind of got winded that last game against the Stars. All the stopping and the starting, as far as this, we're going to this limit and then we're stopping the game for a little bit and then we're starting the next game. That's kind of got to get cleaned up a little bit, but it was okay. It was better than most games. And the MVP of the game was Anthony Edwards, which he came out and went crazy. This is a guy that came out and showed what an all-star is like and what people came to see and what we expect to see when it comes to the NBA All-Star game. We want to see the stars put on star performances in the right moments. So a shout out to Anthony Edwards for keeping everything alive and things like that. So, like I said, as far as the NBA All-Star game, it was cool this year. The weekend was decent. 3-point competition was good. Skills challenge was okay. The main game was decenter than it usually is. So, we appreciate the NBA for putting a little bit more effort as far as the players, because the NBA itself is trying, but the players themselves put in some effort. So while we was away, we talked a little bit about the NBA trades, but we really didn't get into some that happened after we got off the air. So again, we're just going to, talk about a little bit of them, nothing too major. The first one we're talking about is Anthony Davis, always disabled. AD was traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Washington Wizards. And let's get that new squad on the board for you. So the Wizards also captured Trae Young in a trade a few weeks before they got Anthony Davis. So as you see, this is perhaps the team that will be next year is Trae Young, Trey Johnson, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, and Anthony Davis. I know a lot of people said Alex Sarr could play the 5, but Anthony Davis in this example is the 5, which he should be, but we all know he doesn't like to play the 5. As far as me grading this trade, I give it a C plus because Anthony Davis is always hurt. So what are they going to get out of Anthony Davis? But as far as Washington trying to build a team and make people come out and watch them and care about the Wizards, it's not a bad team for next year. They're going to get a high draft pick this year. Alex Sarr was, I believe, top. He was number 1 pick or number 2. So he's still trying to ascend. So you got free agency as well. So they can go out there and get perhaps another key guy in that 2-3-4 spot, or really two or that 2-3 spot, and then get a decent bench. And they can be, especially in the East, I can see them being top 5 in the East with Trae Young being healthy and the AD being healthy, and absolutely top 5 in I say top 6 in the East, for sure. But it all hinges on how AD stays healthy, and can AD stay healthy. Now, we all know that AD was traded for Luka, right? And when that happened, they got Cooper Flag in the draft, and this Kyrie, AD, Cooper Flag um, trio was supposed to go crazy in the league, and we never got to see it. As you see, they never played one game together. Kyrie is actually out for the rest of the season. He's not coming back. AD got traded, so it's just Cooper Flag. So that's kind of a downer, right? And so, like I said, the Mavericks traded Luka for AD, and this is pretty much what they got back in this trade after it's all said and done. After that Luka trade, they got Max Christie, Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, a 26 OKC first, 26 Phoenix second, Chicago 27 second, LA's 29th first round pick, Houston's 29th second round pick, and Golden State Warriors 2030 first round pick protected. So Max Christie is a good ascending player. Chris Middleton is on the downturn. Not sure about AJ, Malachi. Marvin Bagley is pretty much a bust from where he was drafted, I think number 3 overall. And you got some draft picks in 26, 27, 29, and 30, which OKC's first is not really going to do nothing. And you're talking about 2029, 2030 for LA and Golden State. Perhaps Golden State in 2030 at first, but it's protected, so no telling what's protected from, like 1 through 4 or whatever. And then at LA 2029, which is about 3 years from now. Not sure it'll be bad. So I mean, they kind of basically got nothing but cap space, but we kind of already knew what the Mavericks was trying to do with getting Luka up out of here, really. And then our next trade that we had was kind of a sneaky trade, but not really. We had the OKC champions, right? The OKC Thunder decided to make a trade, and they traded for Jared McCain from OKC for the Rockets 2026 pick. I'm trying to get this off. And 3 second round picks. I think it's a sneaky pickup. It bolsters their bench. It's for a 2026 first round pick from the Rockets that really isn't going to amount to nothing. The Rockets are good. So you might as well be able to get a player that is pretty elite to come off your bench and kind of, give your bench that guy that can dang near score 20 a night coming off the bench. And you got Shea that's already giving you 30, so that's 50. You got Chet, and you got Williams, which Williams has been banged up a little bit this season. So, good trade for OKC, sneaky trade, and it's panning out even as we speak with that, really. And then we've got they finally freed Jonathan Kuminga. So Jonathan Kuminga was traded to the Hawks along with Buddy Hield for Kristaps Porzingis. This was kind of a salary dump, essentially. Kristaps Porzingis, which it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. He's hurt. He's back to this unknown illness that they can't figure out. So he's not really playing. He's on a 1-year, $30 million deal, so it expires after this year. So Golden State gets that cap relief. And then you got Jonathan Kuminga, who still got 2 years left. Buddy Hield still got 3. But this trade essentially allows Kuminga to flourish, get away from the Warriors who weren't playing them. We all feel like Jonathan Kuminga is a great player, or can be a good one. I mean, anytime he's on the court, he's out there scoring like 20 points, 5+ rebounds with a couple assists, and somebody can use that. So, and he's been hooping since he's been with the Hawks. He was hurt in the beginning, but ever since then he's been hooping. And I think just for Golden State, I mean, they're probably number 9 right now in the standings, mediocre, not going to do anything in the playoffs, might not get out the play-in. So this is just a good salary dump, and they get a decent player that can produce when he's on the floor, if he's ever on the floor. So that's that, and pretty much with Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, this is their new lineup, and you can kind of see why they're 8th in the West right now. You got Draymond playing the 3, Al, Kristaps Porzingis. Your 2 scorers are Brandon Podziski and Curry ain't played in a long time. So really, this ain't even accurate because Curry hasn't played. So it's a wacky team, and we're not expecting too much from the Warriors. We'll see what they do this offseason to get better and to put a better team around Curry. And another trade that happened was finally the Lakers got rid of Gabe Vincent and traded him and a 2032 second-round pick to Atlanta for Luke Kennard. Not a big move, just getting rid of one bum to get somebody who can perhaps do what he ain't doing. Essentially same kind of player. Luke Kennard is taller, plays the forward position compared to Gabe as a guard. But Luke can come in there and defend and shoot threes way better than Gabe Vincent can at this point. And Gabe Vincent ain't really did nothing since he's been with the Lakers, so we ain't really missing nothing. I'm glad they got rid of him. The Lakers also didn't get rid of enough people, but that's another talk for another day. So that's all the NBA news that we have for right now. And right now, currently, the NBA is kind of slow. News cycle and everything is kind of slow. So I'm going to get y'all out of here on this. So we had some fights coming up, or we had some fights. The first fight that we had was Ryan Garcia defeated Mario Barrio for Barrio's WBC welterweight title. So now Ryan Garcia is now your WBC welterweight champion. This is the same Mario who faced Manny Pacquiao before he just fought Ryan Garcia, and he beat Manny Pacquiao. A lot of people said Manny Pacquiao won that fight. Pretty much for me, Mario Barrio seemed as though he did not deserve to be in the same ring as Ryan Garcia. Garcia pretty much put it on him. He showed you why he's a top fighter. He didn't have any trouble with the PEDs or the drugs this time or the crazy talking. So he's a champion now. We'll see who he fights next. And, as far as Mario Barrio, I mean, I'm going to see him probably start to drop as far as his ranking goes because he really didn't put on a great fight. Nothing special. So, I'm pretty sure he'll drop. And, I mean, he beat Pacquiao, but you're talking about an older Pacquiao. And, I mean, shoot, a lot of people say you didn't beat him. And now he's about to fight perhaps one fight before he fights Floyd Mayweather. So, we'll see. But shout out to Ryan Garcia getting back in the win column. And glad to see you back fighting. And we shall see who you fight next. Right? So then we had the fight that happened. After that, we had Clarissa Shields had a rematch against Cruz. I'm not going to butcher her first name or her other second name, but she ended up defeating Cruz in 10 rounds in the rematch to retain her undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Now, this fight, it went, the distance. It wasn't nothing special. It was a regular fight. Cruz put up a fight, but of course, Clarissa was just the better fighter. As far as where Shields goes from here, where Clarissa goes, where Clarissa, Shields goes from here, I don't know. I feel like she's kind of in the category with Bud. I said right here on this show, I felt like there was nobody else that Bud should fight or could fight, and he should retire. What happens? He retires. So I think it's the same thing with Clarissa Shields. I think there's no one else for her to fight. She's won gold medals. She is the current undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I don't think that she can go from heavyweight to fighting a Baumgartner who's about 130, 135. I don't think Clarissa can go down to that low of a weight. I don't think Baumgartner can go up to that high of a weight. And so I think that would have to be a fight where it's not a weight class and it's just a fight. So I think that's probably the only person that she could really fight. I forget the woman that fought, Katie Taylor, but I feel like they're also in a different weight class, and I feel like Katie Taylor is kind of in Baumgartner's weight class, so that's kind of works. So there's really no clear fighter for her to fight. I don't think there is a women's boxer who can go out there and fight her and win. I don't see it. Maybe she does a crossover fight and fights a man, perhaps to get a bag like a Logan Paul or something. But as far as a actual woman fighter that can go in there and fight Clarissa Shields for her championship, I don't think there's anybody. So I think she could almost hang it up and we'd be okay with it. But I don't think she does, because I think she finds some other fights and there's definitely probably some more money out there. So, but no clear fights to see who she could fight. And I get you guys out of here on this one. No graphic for this one. But we got an underrated fighter pretty much that nobody knows. We've got Narate. Let me get this. We got Emmanuel Narate dismantled Eduardo Sugar Nunez. Narate is 40-2 with 33 knockouts. And he pretty much got a TKO of Nunez in the 10th round, but starting the 11th, that's why they say 11th TKO of Nunez. He pretty much boxed him until his eye was closed shut. You know, fighters, they want to keep fighting, but the doctor went ahead and called the fight off because your eye is shut, my guy, so you can't see and you're taking punches. That's why your eye is shut. But he go ahead and unifies the titles. Narate is a underrated, unknown Mexican fighter. He kind of reminds me of I just had his name. David Benavidez, as far as his style of boxing. He's not as powerful because he's only in the 130 range, and Benavidez is in the 180 and above range. But as far as he's powerful for 130, and he throws you a barrage of punches that connect at about 60% plus, which is pretty high for a boxer. And he gets you out of there. Like I said, he's now 40-2-1, and he's got 33 knockouts out of 43 fights. So, you know, all but 10 of his fights he ended out in knockout. So he knocks you out. I'm interested to see what type of opportunity he gets. I think it's about time for him. He's 31 years old. I think it's about time for him to start fighting some of these better fighters to kind of get his name out there and to get him a bag, because he definitely can beat these guys. And some people that's in his weight division, it's like he won or draw. I can't remember his name, but Lamont Roach, that's his name. He's the Lamont Roach weight class. So I think Lamont Roach would be a good fighter for him to fight, even though you know, Roach has been having 2 fights with 2 draws of lately. So you really don't know if it's going to be a draw or not. So we'll see. I hope he gets a better opportunity to fight some better fighters, because he's a good fighter, and I think he can definitely show out. But, you know, boxing is a different type of game when it goes to promoting it and things like that. So we'll see, if he gets his opportunity. So, like I said, 30-minute show. It was gonna be short, but we had a couple of topics we wanted to get out there and put out there on the web so you guys can hear our opinion. Now, on the next show, my co-host will be back in the building. We will be back with more football content, more basketball content. Because, like I said, free agency for football is right around the way. We are going to pretty much definitely, unfortunately, cover the Colts, but we'll give y'all updates on what's going on there and with all the other 31 teams in the NFL. So, appreciate y'all for coming and watching another episode of the ShoeBox Podcast. And remember, we'll be back with y'all next week, giving y'all more updates on how NFL free agency goes. So appreciate you for watching. Always remember, peace.